But I keep saying, and I will repeat here again, is there any Nigerian out there in their majority who has not mentally seceded from Nigeria? Not many.
Mr. President, there are some people who are still in detention as a result of the NSAS protest. They were young people who were protesting for justice, for freedom, and for democracy. Any young protester in Nigeria today learned from you because you were the father of protests in Nigeria. Do something about it. Give them the freedom. You taught us, you funded us to stand up and fight. So they are your children and your grandchildren. Give them the pardon. Thank you and God bless.
Wow, very thought-provoking speech there from Senator Shehu Sani, speaking from the heart.
Longer Nnamdi Kanu remain in prison, the more the cause he is fighting for is being flourished by his own detention. Tinubu is a president that came from the trenches. He is one of those who fought for democracy and freedom. And I believe, if not for the fact that he went to exile, he could have ended up in prison with us in the 90s. Then someone of his own stature cannot be lectured about democracy or human rights, because we are all in the trenches fighting. So my expectation is that the problem cannot be solved by keeping the leader of the struggle perpetually in prison. You don't solve the problem. You can only solve the problem if you discuss the problem.
But I keep saying, and I will repeat here again, is there any Nigerian out there in their majority who has not mentally seceded from Nigeria? Not many. That's why people are living in droves. Each time you get on a plane leaving this country is full.
Can't ignore Simon Ekpa in the equation.
There are many ways to go around this. We have to be realistic. Do we have any form of extradition treaty with Finland? You don't ask for what you don't.
Not there.
I mean, do you have any kind of treaty in that regards? Now, let me leave that. I'm looking at the whole of the southeastern region. We have about 5 states. We have Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, and Imo states. These governors should come together. Because let's assume that you are even an independent state, you are a sovereign nation, and you are having these issues. How do you solve it?
All right, Ibn Abo, but you think that extraditing Simon Ekpa, he will go some way of dousing tension?
I'm not too sure about that. What happened when Nnamdi Kanu was brought to Nigeria? Was there any form of abatement to the activities of the IPOB? So that is not the solution. The solution, we should start from within. Let the governors come around. They are your people. What can you do? Where are they? Are they dropping from the sky? We should look for solutions within ourselves. Yes, given Mr. President is the chief of commander-in-chief of the armed forces and all of that. But if you have come up with a solution, then you can now discuss with the president and even call on other governors to work hand in hand, because these states are bounded by other states. So you work hand in hand, and then when you work like that, when you are beginning to see some positive, responses or results, then you can begin to look at other things to be done. But for now, you can't just be sitting we are like sitting ducks, and anyone can just throw anything at us. It is not right. We have to take the bull by the horn. Bringing Finland, sending Simon Ekpa back to Nigeria cannot solve the problem. Somebody else will come up.
Simple, from another country.
Yes. So it's not a solution, please. It's not.
So the whole thing sounds like business to you, a franchise.
Well, didn't we see when there was agitation in Niger Delta?
the names you were hearing then, did anybody ever come out to tell you, I am so and so person, I'm sorry? You know, it's, you see, when you allow situations to degenerate, even you may even find out that you may even have rogue elements in the security services who will be aiding people fighting against the state. It happens.
AKA fifth columnist.
Yes, it happens. Then you have people for different reasons, who are just doing things, engaging in criminal activities, and then everything is tagged around one name. The issue for me is this. Get Nnamdi Kanu released. Find a political solution to his situation, and then work with him. And governors, religious leaders, traditional rulers, political leaders, work with them to find a solution. And one other problem is that there are a number of villages that are deserted in the southeast. I traveled through some recently. I told you I ran into unknown gunmen at a point. So, deserted, completely deserted. And these people have run to different areas, displaced from their natural areas of residence. How do you deal with those ones? So we must take deliberate measures to solve the insecurity situation. Everything must not be done with force.
To you, what's on the front burner would be a political solution to the whole.
Yes, to Nnamdi Kanu's issue. Find a political solution, and then.
So you watch if people like Simon Ekpa will still be relevant.
Well, how would they be? Who would they be talking to? When the arrowhead is out of detention and he has said it openly that he is willing to, put in effort to resolve the security situation. Why not give him a chance? Find a way around it. You see, it is when government doesn't want to act that they start making excuses. No, there can't be a political solution, there can't be this. But you've had cases where you found a political solution. You've had cases where government discontinued prosecution. So the point is that don't pretend as if your hands are tied. You cannot find solutions because we are losing security personnel.
Sometimes when hands are tied, you are wondering if it's to the front or to the back.
In this situation, there's no tying of hands.
Okay.
We just have to be deliberate and intentional about it. I mean, the solution is here. Let us take it. Nnamdi Kanu came up and made a suggestion. What are you doing with it?
But if, in obedience to what the army chief is saying, Simon Ekpa is turned loose, something will give.
It is because, you see, if it is because Nnamdi is not free yet, once the boss comes out, you just said it, Arrowhead, he is the one. Once he is out, the people will listen to him. And then with the collaboration of all of the governors and all hands on deck.
So many people will be involved in
all hands on deck, there will be solution. Have you forgotten what happened in the Northeast? Eventually.
Right. Gentlemen, I hear we must begin to wrap.
But I keep saying, and I will repeat here again, is there any Nigerian out there in their majority who has not mentally seceded from Nigeria? Not many. That's why people are living in droves. Each time you get on a plane leaving this country is full.
The governor of the state himself obeys the sit at home on Monday. And then the civil servants that work in government house obey the sit at home. And government shut down on Mondays. It means the real governor of Southeast is Simon Ekpa, ruling the Southeast from Finland. As we move, you follow us. The governor of the state himself obeys the sit at home on Monday. And then the civil servants that work in government house obey the sit at home. And government shut down on Mondays. It means the real governor of Southeast is Simon Ekpa, ruling the southeast from Finland. As we move, you follow us. The governor of the state himself obeys the sit at home on Monday. And then the civil servants that work in government house obey the sit at home. And government shut down on Mondays. It means the real governor of Southeast is Simon Ekpa, ruling the Southeast from Finland.
And then externally, we have external people that equally support them. The issue of IPOB. There's a lot of funding that comes in there. Yes.
Are you worried? Because you know an operation,
of course,
you have
definitely.
a special operation on the sit-at-home IPOB situation in the Southeast.
Yes.
But some of the elements and the leaders of these groups are outside of the country.
Yes. We have repeatedly complained about the issue of Simon Ekpa. He is in Finland. The Finnish government are giving him all the support, and he's doing what he's doing. Comments he's making. People are being killed, and nothing is being done. And this is democracy. If the European Union is the one supporting democracy, and this is happening, and they are not taking action, then they don't mean well for Nigeria. We have said that in clear terms. We need to diplomatically find means of getting him out of whatever it is that he's doing. He must be arrested. He must be prosecuted. Look at it from the other way. Assuming he is in Nigeria and he's doing that to the Finnish government, you think the European Union will allow that happen? They definitely will not. So why are they allowing him to do what he's doing? And people like him that are doing such things. Trailing the funds is very critical. I know a lot of the First Central Bank, the NFIU, are doing a lot in tracking down how the funds flow. And this is part of what we call the oxygen of terrorism. It's logistic, leadership, and funding. Your ability to be able to tackle those things and trail them and deny them the ability to operate will kill terrorism with good governance. Now, you can see the statistics that came in. Political will. And political will is not from federal government alone. The states are critical. For me, if I look at the aspects, what do we need? Let's look at solutions. Do we have a comprehensive database as Nigerians? If you go to Chad, Cameroon, and Niger, once you enter, they know you are not a Nigerian. And they have this duty as citizens. Once you speak, the man knows you are not a Nigerian. The next thing he tells you, if he's a taxi driver, he tells you his vehicle has a problem. He's calling the gendarmes. Before you know it, the gendarmes are coming to ask you, what are you doing in our country? We don't have that. That's what we're saying is a holistic thing that we have to do. Every Nigerian has a role to play in what's going on ground. And then we must look at these things and take it up as a challenge. It's not a military or a security.
Cows are not citizens of Nigeria.
So, Mr. President, cows are not citizens of Nigeria.
You didn't hear what I said. Senator Adelu, are you arguing with me?
No.
I said cows are not citizens. The section you are referring to is talking about citizens of Nigeria.
Yes.
And cows are not citizens of Nigeria. Cows can come in from Niger. They can come in from Chad, anywhere. But cows are not citizens. So, your point of order is noted, but rejected. You want to make contribution on the debate? Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. But I'm against the idea of restricting movement of Nigerians from one state to another.
No, that would not happen.
Right now, citizens of Nigeria are allowed to move from one state to another to establish business without any hindrance whatsoever.
It affects everywhere in Nigeria.
Yes.
Nobody can restrict
pastoralists
movement.
are citizens of Nigeria. They can move to North Central, Northwest, Northeast, South, and establish their business without.
They can do so, but not with AK-47.
Yeah. No. I'm not talking about criminals.
You don't understand.
Yes. But I keep saying, and I will repeat here again, is there any Nigerian out there in their majority who has not mentally seceded from Nigeria? Not many. That's why people are living in droves. Each time you get on a plane leaving this country is full.
One major priority area in the Southeast, which I think will cool off a great deal of nerves, is for us to bring out Kanu, that gentleman. Pull him out. Stop this incarceration.
Very well. And I suspect that some people in government are complicit. Yes. They are making money with insecurity.
That's correct.
They are making money with it. They know now the Kanu is outside. In 2 minutes, this nonsense will stop. Who is the idiot? Who is the bagger? That will speak when I'm talking. Who is the fool? Who is the idiot? I ask. That I give an order in the east and any idiot will counter it. Who is the bastard? I'm asking you. Nobody can.
If you are inviting people to mediate, and those people whom you are inviting to mediate are interested parties, people who have to gain from your quarrel or from your difficulty, don't expect any reconciliation. They won't be honest. I said at the beginning of Mass, our country is being torn apart by the incapacity to reconcile. Only 6 years after our independence, in 1966, some military officers thought that the politicians were not getting things right and staged a coup. That coup set a ball rolling that eventually culminated in the worst massacre and genocide in modern African history, the Nigeria-Biafran War. Attempts at discussion, mediation failed mainly because one of the major partners in mediation was an interested party, the British. When you are calling those who sell arms, when you are calling those who steal your minerals when you are fighting, when you are calling those who want your population to be reduced to half, to come and mediate between you and your brother because you are quarreling, you can imagine the type of advice he will give you. But that is not the worst. The worst is that since after that war, no attempt has been made at reconciliation. Let us talk this thing over. My brother and friend, the Bishop of Sokoto, Matthew Hassan Kuka, has kept saying, until Nigerians sit down and discuss the injustices done to the Easterners during the war and ask for pardon for the unjust murder, there will be no peace. And let me warn those going for Biafra, we will break away, but we will carry our heart with us. Even if we break away, that does not solve the problem. Let us talk these things over. After the war, they told us there will be reconstruction, reconciliation, and rehabilitation. As not one of those things was done. And because we have not been able to talk these things over, the injury that was done to a people is handed from one generation to another generation. Scrapping history from our curriculum in the secondary schools will not solve the problem. The problem will be solved by, let us sit down and talk these things over. And if we can't handle it, we are going to Mali to reconcile them. Whom have we invited to come and help us reconcile ourselves? In our arrogance, we don't even accept we have any problem. If it doesn't work, invite some people who are more or less neutral, who have nothing to gain by your quarrel or by your reconciliation, except that love is reigning. Invite them to help you. Look at this.
Young Africa! Young Africa! Young Africa! Nandikalu! Young Africa! Nandikalu! Young Africa! Nandikalu! Young Africa!
These are the kings and royal majesties of Biafra land. I am Mazi Oga Samuel Madabuchi reporting for Family Writers directly from Faruku, Ibeku, the homeland of our king and queen, whose bodies are being laid to the Mother Earth today. Here are all the kings and the Royal Highnesses of Igbo land from different parts of Biafra. Igbo, Ishikiri is here, Ibibio is here, Ikwere is here.
Well, what you must know is that Nnamdi Kanu is being held hostage on behalf of the famed unity of Nigeria. That's what it's all about. It's as simple as that. If you mention his name in certain circles, they don't want to hear it because they feel like he threatens the real estate called Nigeria. And his Igbo makes it worse because Nigeria's DNA hates the Igbo for.
The politicians are doing whatever they can to nail Nnamdi Kanu. What has happened to him? They are part of it. The politicians are doing whatever they can to nail Nnamdi Kanu. What has happened to him? They are part of it. They are working hard to make sure Nnamdi Kanu will not be released. To nail Nnamdi Kanu. The politicians are doing whatever they can to nail Nnamdi Kanu. What has happened to him? They are part of it.
Every one of us must rise up. The armed forces are not neutral. They collude. They collude. They collude with the armed bandits. They kill people, kill Nigerians. They facilitate their movements. They cover them. If you are depending on the armed forces to stop the killings, you will all die one by one.
But I keep saying, and I will repeat here again, is there any Nigerian out there in their majority who has not mentally seceded from Nigeria? Not many. That's why people are living in droves. Each time you get on a plane leaving this country is full.
Thinking about how we've been having this conversation about the unity of Nigeria. And I reflect back at some of the prominent statements made by some of our founding leaders. And I feel that probably this will help us to have a conversation on the Nigerian unity. I just brought four, not to bore you. First, and I quote, not my statement, Nigeria is not a nation. It's a mere geographical expression. There are no Nigerians in the same sense as there are English, Welsh, or French. The word Nigerian is merely a distinctive appellation to distinguish those who live within the boundaries of Nigeria from those who do not. This is accredited to Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the former Prime Minister of the Western region. The second one, and I quote, it is true that we politicians always delight in talking loosely about the unity of Nigeria. 60 years ago, there was no country called Nigeria. What is now Nigeria consisted of several large and small communities, all of which were different in their outlooks and beliefs. The advent of the British and that of Western education has not materially altered the situation. And the many and varied communities have not knit themselves into a composite unit. This is accredited to Sir Amadu Bello, former Premier of Northern Region. The third, and I quote, since 1914, the British government has been trying to make Nigeria into one country. But the Nigerian people themselves are historically different in their backgrounds, in their religious beliefs and customs, and do not show themselves any sign of willingness to unite. The Nigerian unity is only a British intention for the country. This is...
Are we your slaves? The way you were elected was the way you were elected. Are we your slaves? How else you can suspend me here? Are we your slaves? Every time you keep on picking leadership for us. We are not your slaves. Whether you like it or not, the way you were elected was the way we were elected. We are not your slaves. The way you elected was the way you elected. How you can suspend me? You have done your worst, Mr. President. What do you mean by that? You have done your worst. You have done your...
Then you find a taxman who will tell you, I will shoot you or I will kill you and nothing will happen. But the gentleman is correct. Nothing will happen. Because in the past, people have killed and nothing has happened. How many cases have been investigated by the IG? How many? How many SARS personnel have been held, as culprits and made to face the law? So the man is right when he stops you in your car and discussing with you and tell you if you are not careful, I will waste you and nothing will happen. And he tells you to your face. Frankly speaking, I've sat in the car once with my family, my wife and kids. I was stopped by a policeman. I was a mufti. I didn't bother to introduce myself in my usual way because I feel allowed the gentleman to do his job. But you will not believe he started stepping beyond his bounds. When eventually he discovered, I am an army colonel, I expected that as a disciplined security man, you come to attention and pay me my regards. He was asking me, so what do you have for the boys now? A bloody sergeant, you are asking me, after knowing who I am? I'm disappointed. I looked at him, I said, well, I don't blame you. I blame the training you had because my driver wouldn't do that to your boss. It's unfortunate. And while I kept talking, my wife became jittery that, look, this man is holding a weapon. Drive off, baby, before this man begins to misbehave. I had to understand what she was saying, and I drove off because I'm there with my entire family. This guy will waste you, and nothing will happen. This is Nigeria. That is the level of impunity which our police force has attained. It's unfortunate.
But I keep saying, and I will repeat here again, is there any Nigerian out there in their majority who has not mentally seceded from Nigeria? Not many. That's why people are living in droves. Each time you get on a plane leaving this country is full.
Peter B is a liar and a murderer. Peter B is bad. He's a killer. Remember Masop? Look at useless Masop. Peter B killed them in 2006 at Onitsha. Shoot aside, remember? That Ojukwu cried. I said to Obasanjo, if you don't withdraw this army, then something will happen. Or I think Ojukwu stopped talking to Peter B for a while. I said to Peter B, ask Peter B now, did Ojukwu say that to you or not? Why are you killing your brothers? They are vagabonds on the streets. Yes, so Wazuke brought them out. Yes. But in Lagos, you have area boys. Tinubu was giving them money. They don't have any jobs to go to. That was why. Ask Peter Obi, was there any time Ojukwu chastised you for killing our people? Let me tell you one funny thing about Masop and Waziriki Fajuna. Do you know that after killing them, they still went back and voted for Peter Obi, campaigned for him? The bodies of the Masop members are still in mortuary till today. Are you listening to me? The bodies of those people are still in mortuary till today. Wazirike will go and be taking money from them. Wazirike finally took 40 million from Peter Obi. These things are things I know. For an election. He never said to Peter Obi, how about my members that you killed? Those I brought out that you killed. Never. Wazirike is not just a thief, but very callous. Ask Masop. Masop we know. If not Masop, like Rochas, they know. They are. How come your members are still in mortuary that Peter Obi killed? This same Peter Obi was not happy with them. He came back and told SARS in Okozo to start slaughtering our people. Young men, 86 of them killed and dumped into a Zoo River. Where is the autopsy report? Very soon we'll go for that. We know what we're waiting for. Peter Obi got autopsy result. No. He must produce the autopsy result. Then you will see that your own children were killed by Peter Obi. You don't know what is happening, do you? We tell you, ask Peter Obi, did Ojukwu ever? No, ask Bianca. Ask her, did His Excellency, please, at any time, to your knowledge, chastise Peter Obi for killing our people? Peter Obi told our Wasa men, he brought our Wasa people. He said he didn't want Igbo officers. He brought our Wasa, shoot at sight. The same thing that Okorocha is doing today. They learned from Peter Obi. In fact, Achiku Denwa was the start of it. Shoot at sight. They shot people and they killed them.
Of uninterrupted support. Because this country is not fair to so many of us.
But I keep saying, and I will repeat here again, is there any Nigerian out there in their majority who has not mentally seceded from Nigeria? Not many. That's why people are living in droves. Each time you get on a plane leaving this country is full.
So let us wait on the 20th. If she makes a ruling, one way or the other, wherever they stand, then we can take the battle from there.
So some people are saying that yes, political solution could be a way out of this situation. What do you think about this?
I will not comment on that. Whatever I'm involved in that is very serious underground, I will not comment on that. I support them in what they are doing. If there are things we are also doing some other places, we will continue doing it. But I can tell you by the grace of God, Nnamdi will not stay in this building in the next 2 or 3 months. Or else I'm not part of this.
But I keep saying, and I will repeat here again, is there any Nigerian out there in their majority who has not mentally seceded from Nigeria? Not many. That's why people are living in droves. Each time you get on a plane leaving this country is full.
I have been sick of this problem. I have been sick of this controversy over living wage or minimum wage. And I believe that something is seriously wrong with the heads of many of our leaders. How can anyone who earns 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, not to talk of people who earn 1 million, 2 million, how can they go to sleep in good conscience every day? How can they go to sleep in good conscience and come out to sit down in a boardroom to discuss the sustainability or otherwise of paying 60,000 to the poorest of workers? How can we go to bed and sleep, all those who belong to the elite, who earn 2, 3, 4, 500,000, 1 million? How can you go to sleep in good conscience, I say, if you still have any conscience? How can you go to sleep in good conscience and come out to be debating? I hear people on TV, I watch people on TV, experts, economic experts, corporate executives, government officials, who are taking home more than $1 million in a month. And they are there arguing that 60,000 or over will destroy the economy, is not sustainable. How wicked! You give 60,000 to a poor worker, a poor worker who may have a family of 2 or 3 or 4, for his feeding, for his accommodation, for his house rent, for his medical care,
for his children's school fees? How wicked, how blind. How can we do that? And we think that God will bless our country? We think that it is by bringing a new national anthem for God to bless our country? How can you commit this crime against humanity? For me, this is a crime against humanity. Because the poor people who cannot afford to buy gari, I'm not saying they will buy that they are to buy sardino. I'm saying buy gari, poor people who cannot buy gari. I'm not talking of meat or fish. Poor people are dying because they have no money to cure malaria. How can you go to sleep in good conscience? Those of us who belong to the elite, how can we go to sleep with good conscience and we are debating and we are discussing and we vote 500 million naira to meet and debate about paying 60,000 to the poor? My dear friends, I see this as a new form of apartheid. Nigeria is one of the most unequal societies in the entire world. A society where it's like the animal farm. A society where we have conspicuously rich people, people who are living in conspicuous consumption, and others who are in deplorable, dehumanizing poverty. If you have somebody in this country that takes home 1 million naira, I mean 1 million, I'm not talking of 30 million naira, 1 million naira in the month, and he can open his mouth to be part of a discussion about the poor getting 60,000 naira. I say anyone who earns up to 1 million naira in the month should keep his or her mouth shut when he hears them debating about taking 60,000 for the poor. More than 60 years after independence, we are running an apartheid society. This time it's not racial apartheid, it's economic apartheid. We are running an apartheid society of people of conspicuous consumption, flying in private jets around at government expense, people who are riding 4, 5, 6, 7 SUVs with pilot vehicles, chasing the poor out of the road, and poor people, you are debating, you are discussing, you are over 60,000 for the poor. You insult the poor by saying 30,000, and later you say 48,000, and now you say 60,000, and you pay more than 60,000, you come out with 62,000. You insult poor Nigerians. I say there is hardly any society I know that is as divided as the Nigerian society. And a society that is so divided is just sitting on a keg of gunpowder. I have warned here before that the revenge of the poor is at the corner. The revenge of the poor is at the corner. I am not calling for it, but it will happen as night follows the day. Because when you so reduce people, you reduce people to this dehumanizing level. Nature does not allow a situation of islands of affluence amidst a sea of poverty. Nature does not allow it. And let me warn those in the elite. Let me warn those in the tripartite committee of government. Let me warn that it is in the course of nature that when a predator continues to devour the very resources that the predator needs for his own sustenance, nature will take out the predator in order to have equilibrium, in order to have a measure of equilibrium. Nature is about balance, you know. All of nature is about balance, and human beings are part of nature, and Nigerians are part of nature. If the predator who needs the animals in the kingdom, it needs the animals to survive, if it is recklessly devouring the very animals it needs for its own survival, if it is devouring it recklessly and senselessly, nature will step in and remove the predator so that there can be balance in the system, in the ecosystem. Let me warn that all those who are in government, I hear, I have not confirmed, that there are people taking home almost 30 million naira in the month. And you have the guts and you have the temerity to sit down, and your conscience allows you to sit down to discuss about 60,000 naira for poor worker for the whole month, and you are the one that has all the opportunities of extra code and all kinds of perquisites of office. You sit down to discuss about 60,000, and that is all that the person will have in the month. You sit down to discuss this and come out and say, this is not sustainable. How is 30 million naira sustainable in that economy? How is it sustainable that the leader has 100 SUVs going with him to the airport? How is it sustainable? How is it sustainable that government leaders junket around the world? How is that sustainable? I say we are committing a crime against humanity. And if we do not repent and retrace our steps immediately, the revenge of the poor is at the corner. Do not hold me responsible, because while the devastation was on, I did not keep quiet. Do not hold me responsible, because while the madness was on, I did not sit on the fence. I kept on shouting that the revenge of the poor is at the corner unless we change our course. And if we do not change our course, we will end up where we are headed. And where we are headed is devastation, is destruction, is violent revolution. I rest my case.
And then later when I learned, something most people don't know, that there is a plausible argument that democracy began in Igbo land. The very first written constitution on this planet was written by the Igbo people. The very first democracy that involved self-governance, that worked for everybody, not just the Greek wealthy, but everybody, was in Igbo land. And the very first democracy that permitted women leaders was in Igbo land. The West, Europe, we were still in the Dark Ages. And yet the Igbo had figured out a way to have a just and meaningful government and a just and meaningful society.
I can assure you that we have built alliances with countries. Countries. And the effect will be felt in due time. I am telling you, it is not mouth. We have built alliance with countries.
And then externally, we have external people that equally support them. The issue of IPOB. There's a lot of funding that comes in there.
Yes. Are you worried? Because you know an operation,
of course,
you have
definitely.
a special operation on the sit-at-home IPOB situation in the Southeast.
Yes.
But some of the elements and the leaders of these groups are outside of the country.
Yes. We have repeatedly complained about the issue of Simon Ekpa. He is in Finland. The Finnish government are giving him all the support, and he's doing what he's doing. Comments he's making. People are being killed, and nothing is being done. And this is democracy. If the European Union is the one supporting democracy, and this is happening, and they're not taking action, then they don't mean well for Nigeria. We have said that in clear terms. We need to diplomatically find means of getting him out of whatever it is that he's doing. He must be arrested. He must be prosecuted. Look at it from the other way. Assuming he is in Nigeria and he's doing that to the Finnish government, you think the European Union will allow that happen? They definitely will not. So why are they allowing him to do what he's doing? And people like him that are doing such things, trailing the funds is very critical. I know a lot of the First Central Bank, the NFIU, are doing a lot in tracking down how the funds flow. And this is part of what we call the oxygen of terrorism. It's logistic, leadership, and funding. Your ability to be able to tackle those things and trail them and deny them the ability to operate will kill terrorism with good governance. Now, you can see the statistics that came in. Political will. And political will is not from federal government alone. The states are critical. For me, if I look at the aspects, what do we need? Let's look at solutions. Do we have a comprehensive database as Nigerians? If you go to Chad, Cameroon, and Niger, once you enter, they know you are not a Nigerian. And they have this duty as citizens. Once you speak, the man knows you are not a Nigerian. The next thing he tells you, if he's a taxi driver, he tells you his vehicle has a problem. He's calling the gendarmes. Before you know it, the gendarmes are coming to ask you, what are you doing in our country? We don't have that. That's what we're saying is a holistic thing that we have to do. Every Nigerian has a role to play in what's going on ground. And then we must look at these things and take it up as a challenge. It's not a military or a security.
The governor of the state himself obeys the sit-at-home on Monday, and then the civil servants that work in government house will be in the sit at home, and government shut down on Mondays, it means the real governor of Southeast is Simon Ekpa.
But I keep saying, and I will repeat here again, is there any Nigerian out there in their majority who has not mentally seceded from Nigeria? Not many. That's why people are living in droves. Each time you get on a plane leaving this country is full